Folks, we have got a heck of a podcast lined up today because if you're not aware, not only will we be talking about the awesome Lies of P, which surprisingly released a day early on Game Pass yesterday, but today we have to discuss the biggest leak in gaming history. Microsoft's roadmap for the next several years, completely erroneously exposed to the internet. Everyone is talking about it. Man, we got a lot to discuss on today's Level 1 podcast, so let's get her going. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. Today is Tuesday, the 19th of September, 2023, and we have all been thrown for a complete loop in the gaming scene. First of all, with Lies of P actually releasing a full day early for no good reason, seemingly. You know, everything listed it as coming out on Tuesday, the 19th, even advertisements. But the game came out yesterday, so I've got a bit to talk about today about the game and what I think about it, because I played it all day yesterday for 5.5 hours, and there is a lot to be said. So let's talk. But in addition to that, oh my goodness. I've been doing this for 15 years. I've been a gamer since the 1980s. Not in any of that time have I seen the amount of leaks happen that just happened. Probably because we just had an unprecedented court case of the Federal Trade Commission here in the United States essentially trying to stop Microsoft from buying Activision Blizzard and creating a merger situation. And during that time, basically, a lot of documents had to come to light and be studied by the courts. And those documents have now been made public completely erroneously. They never should have been seeing the light of day. They have exposed Microsoft's entire gaming plans for the next several years. We now have roadmaps for certain games that are in development, for consoles that are in development. I've never seen anything like this before. And right now, what's happening is a big pointing of fingers. Oh, it wasn't us. The FTC says, oh, it wasn't us. Don't you look at us. And of course, people are going to say, well, was it the courts that screwed up and accidentally made this information public? Did Microsoft erroneously upload this publicly to the wrong part of a website? Like, what really happened here? And probably this will be going in circles for weeks. But this morning we're going to discuss the biggest portions of what was leaked, including new versions of Microsoft consoles and controllers coming out supposedly next year, games in development that no one even knew existed, and some internal emails by Phil Spencer regarding the gameplay or the strategy of Xbox in general. So this will be interesting, to say the least. But before we get to any of that, let's actually have a little bit of fun. Because, ladies and gentlemen, last night, a post was made on Twitter/X, whatever the hell you want to call it, regarding me. And once again, it's a very similar kind of post that gets made all the time. And every time it gets posted, it's pretty funny. In particular, this one got some pretty good traction. So, someone who, I'll be honest, I've never heard of, posted this up, essentially saying, I outlasted Machinima, I outlasted two best friends. I outlasted Cryotic. I've outlasted actual lawsuits in the entirety that they've existed. And I'm still here surviving on the internet. And surprisingly enough, the picture they posted of me is not that bad. Usually when someone makes a post like this about me on Twitter, it's some like horrendous picture that makes me look absolutely atrociously ugly. And in this case, it was actually like a normal picture from back in the day when I lived in Connecticut. So it's still a 9-year-old outdated picture, but it's not that bad. And I think the thing that they're talking about now is Achievement Hunter. If you guys aren't aware, you know, Achievement Hunter has been around for a very long time on YouTube. It's an offshoot of Rooster Teeth, and it's a group that essentially would do everything they could to earn achievements in Xbox versions of games. I don't know if they ever delved into the PC side of things, too, because they also have achievements. But, you know, well-known, have run for over a decade, right? Very popular on YouTube or whatever, and as of, you know, overnight, they're gone. They decided to shut down, that all the people who work on Achievement Hunter are going to go off and work on separate projects completely unrelated to Achievement Hunter. I'm actually wondering if this is part of the whole breakdown of Rooster Teeth, because I keep hearing over the last 1 to 2 years that Rooster Teeth has fallen apart and really isn't working anymore, and therefore they're trying to regroup and rebrand and change all their content and make different content and stuff like that. Maybe that's what it is. In truth, I have literally never watched Achievement Hunter, so I don't really know what's going on over there. But the thing is, when posts like this are made about me, all right, I do feel like there's two schools of thought. One school of thought is, this guy's a complete laughingstock joke, and it's hilarious to know that he's still around when all these other things that were way more popular than him, that were way more successful than him, that people viewed in way more of a positive light than him, are gone, and he's still around, right? But for me, when I see it from my perspective, I have a different take. You have to understand something, all right? I am Joe Nobody. I am the little guy on the internet. I was never the big promoted guy. I never had crossovers with other YouTubers. I was never promoted. I never did promotions. You know what I'm saying? Like, never, ever was I one of these groups. Like, Achievement Hunter is a group of content creators from Rooster Teeth who all work together and collaborate. I never had that. It was always just DSP by himself doing shit. You understand? And basically the way I see it is, in the 15 years that I've been making content, all right, I've stayed true to myself. I never sold out. I still make honest content. I'm not here shilling with paid promotions in every stream that I do. I'm not here literally doing drama news and gossip and slandering other people on a daily basis for clickbait. Instead, I'm doing what I love. I'm covering video games. I'm playing video games. I'm hanging out with my audience, as big or small as it may be today. But I still appreciate the audience that likes me and wants to hang out with me every day and supports me in my efforts to stay true to myself, you know, all these years. And it's funny because I made this post this morning, and immediately you see people start saying things like, oh, he did sell out because he streams and he advertises and he takes in contributions, all things he used to hate. That's selling out? Or is that just evolving and changing with the times because that's what everyone is doing to survive because YouTube changed? Truth is, if YouTube never changed and lost ad revenue, I'd probably still be making a living on YouTube ad revenue on videos. But what happened on YouTube was the adpocalypse. And at that time, you had to change to survive, or else you're just going away because you couldn't make a living on YouTube just on ad revenue again. It changed, right? In my opinion, I changed for the better. I listened to the feedback of my viewers, and I adapted per what they wanted, but I still love what I do. No, selling out would have been if literally I'm exactly the same as everybody else. I sit here every day and I shill some junk to make a buck. I play games only because I'm being paid to play them. I have insane drama content, drama segments, causing big dramatic arguments with people, slandering people every day, like the YouTube drama queens every day, bending into the horrible, toxic lolcow culture aspect of the internet, doing self-destructive things just for quick, short-term gain, like someone paying me to do some kind of a stunt. I wonder who did stuff like that recently. But I think you understand what I'm saying, okay? I'm happy that I have evolved and changed, but at the same time stayed true to who I am as a content creator, and that I'm still here 15 years later. I mean, kind of, we just celebrated this. We just celebrated my 15-year anniversary as a YouTuber, and the fact that I'm still here, I'm still able to do what I love, and I'm still have an audience that appreciates that. You know what I'm saying? So thank you to everyone who's still here, who still enjoys my content, who still supports the content. And in reality, I don't think this guy up here was trying to be malicious. He was just rolling into the meme, which was nice. Because it's rare to see a post by someone that's not completely like, let's destroy Darkside Phil. You know, like they could have had my O face on this post or something fucked up. And instead, the guy was actually not that bad. So I want to say, hey, shout out for once not being a complete scumbag to me. Because it's nice that people, every once in a while, actually give me a fair shake. And thank you all. And now let's continue on with our normal podcast. Okay. And by the way, I guess rest in peace Achievement Hunter, because I never watched them, but hopefully, you know, people liked their content. Apparently they did. It apparently is like a huge loss, right? So, let's now jump into today's stuff. First of all, before we even get to the Microsoft dump, which is insane, I can't believe this happened, let's talk about Lies of P, which was yesterday's surprise drop. Because a lot of people are trying to, like, justify the reason why Lies of P was live yesterday. There's no justifiable reason. It just happened. I almost feel like it was an error. Like, internally on the clock, they had it set for the 18th by accident. Even though every piece of advertisement and every piece of PR everywhere said it was coming out today, the 19th. I think they screwed it up. And so when it came out, they were just like, well, whatever. Just let it roll. You know, just let it go. And everyone play it and enjoy it. Because they're not going to undo what we've done now. So, Lies of P, the game that everyone's been talking about for a couple of years, that basically looks like Bloodborne 2, right? And after having played it for 5.5 hours yesterday, I would say it's about Bloodborne 1.5. Let's put it that way. Because it definitely has tons of the aspects of a game like Bloodborne. For example, all the elements of FromSoft games are there. You've got your leveling system that's exactly the same. In fact, the stats in this game, although they're counted something or called something different, are exactly the same. You've got your health, your stamina, your carry capacity, dexterity, strength, magic, and there might be one more in there, I'm not even sure, but they're all exactly the same stats as Bloodborne. It's the same system. Your weapons. You start off with different classes of weapons, light, heavy, or kind of medium, and you can customize them. And you can actually have it so that they build up special abilities you can use in combat. So it's a little different from the concept of Bloodborne where you have transformable weapons, but at the same time, the fact that you can have a weapon that you can customize to your own liking, and you can add abilities to that weapon, very much reminds me of Bloodborne weapons, okay? The combat, again, definitely reminds me of Bloodborne. It's a little bit more action-paced, although, well, in Bloodborne, the parry system was based on having a handgun that you would shoot someone at the last minute and they would get staggered, and then you could get like a punish move. In this game, it's actually timed blocks. So in that regard, it's almost a hybrid with Sekiro in a lot of ways. And if you timed block a normal enemy enough, their weapon breaks and then they get stunned and then you can insta-kill them. On bosses, it's actually very similar to Sekiro, where the more you block and time block or parry, I think they call it perfect blocking or something in this, their stun bar fills up, again, like Sekiro, and then you could do a heavy attack that stuns them, and then you get like that visceral attack. So again, very similar. Also, in Bloodborne, when you take damage, if you immediately strike back the enemy, you get health back. Well, in Lies of P, when you block, you take damage. But then if you immediately strike back the enemy, you get the health back. So it's a slightly different mechanic to say it's a different game, but man, you can tell this is Bloodborne, and that's what they were going for. All right? The atmosphere. It's gothic, it's Victorian-esque. Again, it seems set in the same time period as Bloodborne, around those 1800s. Steampunk-esque, very much. And the story's interesting. Without too many spoilers, basically there's some mysterious element that was discovered and used to create puppets, and these puppets became robot slaves of humans. But then all of a sudden the humans caught a plague and started getting infected and started petrifying, whatever that means, because we don't have an actual explanation fully of what that means yet. So the humans had to start going into quarantine. At the same time when this happened, all of the puppets went haywire and started murdering everyone. So not only do we have a epidemic or pandemic of this petrification disease going on for humans, but now we have puppets killing everyone too. It's kind of like two things going on at once. It's a very interesting plot, and I'm sure the further we get into the game, the more interesting it will get. We're only about 5.5 hours in, and we're uncovering slowly little pieces of the plot as we continue on. So, 5.5 hours in, the controls are responsive and fun. The graphics are great on the Xbox Series X. I can't attest to any other platform, but I can tell you that on the Series X, this game runs at a silky smooth 60 frames per second, and running on Unreal Engine 4, it looks great. It's got lighting, it's got shading, it's got atmospheric effects, it's got environmental effects, it's got everything you would want out of a spooky, gothic, creepy horror style game. It's great in that regard. I'm very impressed with the graphics of this game. World design. This is also very, very interesting. Basically, I'm getting confused by people in the chat. I'm not going to stop reading the chat and focus on what I'm doing because I'm getting distracted. The world design is exactly what I want from this style of game. When I played Elden Ring last year, one of my major criticisms was whenever you were in one of the legacy dungeons, the game shined. The world design was exceptionally good. Fun hidden areas, great puzzles, interesting challenges, enemies jumping around the corner, great boss fight finales. It was all great, correct? But what I really complained and criticized about in that game is essentially that the open world didn't work. The open world had too much to do, to explore, and not enough content. Once you started really getting down to the open world, it got tedious and boring. Those stupid optional dungeons that were all over the world that only looked like 3 different kinds, right? It was like a tomb or crypt, a cave, or what was the third kind? There was 3 kinds of those optional dungeons. They were boring. At first, they're kind of fun, and then once you realize, man, they all look the same, and they're only there to pad the length of the game. Ugh. And what you really felt like was I wish they'd spent more time on legacy dungeon-style content and had more of that in the game, and less of this open world kind of regurgitated, repetitive content. But Lies of P goes back to the tried and true formula of everything is hand-designed, everything is curated to be fun for you. It's not open world at all. It's very much like Bloodborne. So, again, playing this game, I know this game is not made by FromSoft, but it feels like this very much is in the very spirit of what FromSoft makes. And I've played these Soulsborne knockoffs before. I mean, hell, earlier this year we played Wolong, and you want to talk about a shitty game? Wolong was a shitty-ass game. A knockoff of Neo and FromSoft games, and it did not work. It was terrible. I did not like that game at all. I only finished it because you guys wanted me to, and I regretted even wasting time on it. This game feels completely different. Like, there's attention to detail. There's polish. Everything in the game, they wanted this to be an homage to Bloodborne because it looks like we're never going to get another Bloodborne, right? So I'm loving this right now. I am really loving it. Like, I'm so pleasantly surprised and happy because there's been so many games that have been hyped, and then when you finally play them, oh my god. Final Fantasy 16, hyped. Play it, dog shit. Starfield, hyped. Play it. All the old school Bethesda games parts are great. Anything new, dog shit. And it's like, damn, can we just get one solid game? And then you're like, wow, Lies of P comes like, boom. This is exactly what you would want if you're a FromSoft fan. I'm like, this is excellent. I'm really enjoying this. So thank you all. I know it was a shock because yesterday a lot of people were not expecting Lies of P. And I know for a fact there were people who were coming today to watch me play it. And then they missed out yesterday because they didn't know it was going to be out. I didn't know either. It was a complete on-the-fly adjustment for us to play Lies of P. But it worked. I played it all day. By the way, for those who were there, thank you so much. You were very supportive on the streams. I really appreciate that. That helped me out. After having several slower streams of Mortal Kombat 1 over the weekend, this helped me bounce back in a big way, and I really appreciate that. So, excitement. Why? Because I'm playing it again today. I actually cannot wait to jump back in to Lies of P on this very stream and see where it goes. I'm hoping that it keeps ramping up and getting better and better with new enemy types, new boss challenges, new lore. You know, the further in I get, the more I'm actually liking it. Yesterday, at the end of the stream, I even stayed a little extra to do some extra exploration, open up some optional content, beat an optional boss. It was really, really fun. So I certainly hope that you guys are enjoying this as well, because I really am enjoying this, and I hope that you guys will tune in for this playthrough over the next several weeks as we play through the game. Okay? Cool. That's all I really want to say. The first 5 parts are already live on DSP Gaming. Give them a look. Thank you to those who already have. And if you were kind of waiting because you wanted to play it yourself, you didn't even know it was going to be out, I don't blame you. It was a shocking twist that it came out early. But it's worth the watch, and it's worth playing. If you were on the fence, you're like, you know, I like FromSoft, but I didn't know if this game was going to be good because it ain't made by FromSoft. You're going to really like this game, in my opinion. I really do think you will enjoy it. It's funny because I actually heard a couple content creators got the game early because there's a premium edition of the game that came out last week if you paid extra. So a few content creators were given the early version, and a few of them who had no intention of playing the game literally just shat on it, saying things like, oh, it's just a pale comparison to FromSoft. Don't play it. They did it on purpose to get clickbait views. But now that the game is out, people are realizing how good it is, and now those assholes have egg all over their face for saying that to try to just get clickbait because they didn't feel like playing the game. It's kind of interesting. Anyway, let's continue on, shall we? Quickly, let's go through the schedule now for the rest of the week so that you guys know what's going on, and then we got to get to these big Microsoft leaks. There's a lot to cover. Really, there's a ton of stuff that was revealed in these leaks, okay? So first of all, today it is more Lies of P on the daytime stream. I'm excited for this. Another 3+ hours of gameplay. I hope you'll join me and hopefully support the stream if you could. You know, had great momentum yesterday. Everything went well. Hope that we can keep that going today, okay? Oh, excuse me. Tonight, yes, we are going back to Mortal Kombat 1 tonight. I know it was supposed to be yesterday. We changed it on the fly because of Lies of P. Tonight, it will be me trying to get as far as I need to go in Invasion mode to unlock the rest of the cameos of the game. I believe there's 2 to 3 left. And the last one I unlocked, Kung Lao, seems really good. So I'll probably try practicing with Kung Lao tonight. And I'll probably play with 1 or 2 characters who I actually used during the story, but I want to practice a little bit with before I go online, because I might want to use these characters in online multiplayer. So I'm thinking like Sindel or Raiden, you know, characters that I liked during the story. So we'll do that tonight, and then once that is unlocked, okay, we're going to go to online multiplayer. So we are doing online multiplayer tonight, but understand, I have to go through this first part of the stream where we unlock the rest of the content first, and then we'll go online, okay? That's the plan for tonight's stream, 6:45 p.m. Pacific time, and I hope you will join me for that. Tomorrow, last streaming day of the week for me, before my day off Thursday, we are going to play Starfield. You know, originally it was supposed to be yesterday, and I will apologize to everyone who was expecting Starfield yesterday and was disappointed to come by the stream and say, what the hell, why is he playing Lies of P? I was as surprised as you, but it will be tomorrow, and I'm excited for this. We actually, last week, had played through the entirety of the Freestar Collective plotline and got to the very end where we're supposed to get our big reward, and then we were going to continue on, and we didn't finish it, and this whole week's just been crazy, right? So we will do that tomorrow. It'll be a daytime stream, chill stream of Starfield fun, and I hope you'll join me for that. Tomorrow night, yes, I will play Street Fighter 6. It will be Lily ranked gameplay in Street Fighter 6 at the 4-star diamond level. My goal, to keep earning more points with her and get her closer to 5-star diamond. I seriously doubt we will get to 5-star diamond tomorrow night. I don't foresee that happening at all. The climb with Lily is very tough because she is one of, if not arguably, the worst character in the game. She has horrible matchups that are very tough to win. So for me, yeah, it's a rough climb. I'm doing my best, and I am advancing, and I haven't played the game now in a week, so I'm probably going to be rusty, but I'll do my best, okay? I'm off on Thursday. This week coming up will be a big balance between all the new releases. So likely the daytime stream on Friday will be Lies of P, and the night stream on Friday will be more Street Fighter 6 multiplayer. Saturday, I'll probably do Mortal Kombat 1 as the daytime stream, and likely a multiplayer stream of it. And then Saturday night, we'll probably do some Starfield, okay? Sunday is going to be my React day, so we'll have the React show on DSP versus the Internet. Probably that night, we'll throw in some more variety, but I'm thinking maybe that night either Street Fighter 6 or, you know, I don't know, more Mortal Kombat. And then Monday will probably be Lies of P paired with Starfield, right? And then, you know, the thing is, next week there's no new releases. But at the end of the week on the 27th, which is, I believe, Wednesday. Yes, on Wednesday the 27th, it is the release of the new DLC character for Street Fighter 6, Aki, A-K-I. If, you know, I'm assuming it's pronounced Aki. She looks completely unique. She looks creepy. I'm interested, and obviously I want to play with this new character just like I did with Rashid about a month ago. And that's what we're going to do. That day I'm going to be exploring that character in training mode, in her trials, and then take her online and see what we can do with her. I'm not saying that necessarily it'll be the entire day. It really depends on how much I like the character. But likely I'll be playing Street Fighter 6 all day that day. So we'll have like 5 days of variety, and then Street Fighter 6 on the 27th, okay? Now, there really are no big new releases until about halfway into the first week of October, and that's Assassin's Creed Mirage, and then after that we have a little bit more time. So we will have time to focus in on finishing up Lies of P, getting further in Starfield, stuff like that before the new releases hit in October. So this is great. Right now, we got a great balance of games. In fact, it is, as you can hear that schedule, it's a little tough to figure out exactly how to balance it around to be playing each game enough, because right now there's so many. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens. And, but it sounds good to me. Now, we could also change things on the fly. I don't know what else will happen between now and, you know, stuff in October. But you have to understand something. All right? I'm one man. I can only play so much. I can't play everything. I got people right now yelling at me still that I didn't play Baldur's Gate 3. I got people yelling at me that I didn't play Sea of Stars. I still have people, if you can believe it, yelling at me saying, what am I crazy that I'm not playing the Phantom Liberty expansion to Cyberpunk 2077, despite the fact I've told you guys so many times I hated the fucking game. I didn't like it. I would never pay for DLC. Why on earth would I continue to torture myself with a game I didn't like? But it's what I mean. People want to see me play everything, and I can't. I have to pick and choose what I play. Right now, I'm just with the stuff I'm playing, I'm having a hard time juggling it. So I am purposefully staying away from other releases at this point. It doesn't make sense. Even the Resident Evil 4 DLC that just came out, how could I play that right now, right? I have to stick to my guns on what I'm doing and not over inundate myself with so many games and projects. I'll never finish any of them. All that's going to do is disappoint everybody. Okay? Okay. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm sorry about that. There was a troll outside my house trying to show me how to eat cup noodles, so I had to spill it all over him, and he ran off to the hospital. Anyway, so, continuing on. Let us quickly... Well, actually, let me think. Did I cover everything that I wanted to cover in the schedule? I did. Alright. It's this simple. All I gotta say is this. Thank you all for the support yesterday. I have a stain on my chair, which I just realized, and it must have been from eating in here, because it looks like it's soy sauce. I'm looking at it, I'm like, it's a weird discoloration spot. That's definitely a stain. That's gotta be from, like, when I ate on one of my meals in here. I just noticed it. Anyway, so, FYI, please support the streams. I don't want to sit here and harp on it. You guys know how you can support, whether it's a super chat, a membership, a gifted membership, a tip. Yesterday was a great day. It really was a helpful, supportive day. If we can keep that momentum going, it would be amazing. It is the busiest season of the year. You would expect this is when that kind of support would happen. And it was really nice yesterday to come back from that weekend that was not so good with Mortal Kombat 1 and have a great day with Lies of P. Please keep that momentum going. If you like the content I put out, support it in some way. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not even going to sit here and talk about it in a lengthy segment, all right? Because, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment everyone's favorite segment. And today we've got a doozy. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for DSP News. And today we have to talk about the biggest, most unprecedented gaming leaks in history. I cannot tell you of another time when I've heard of a gaming leak this big. So, as I already stated, Microsoft has been embroiled in this legal battle because they are trying to buy and or merge with Activision Blizzard. And over the course of the summer, there was this ongoing court trial with the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission in the United States, where the FTC was accusing them of basically trying to form a monopoly and trying to give reasons why they shouldn't buy Activision Blizzard. They were trying to block the merger, and they went through this big legal battle. So basically that case is done, meaning the FTC's case is over. They lost. But all the stuff involved in this needs to be archived, I guess, and eventually uploaded to like websites and stuff for archival purposes. Well, apparently someone, and no one knows who this was, if it was a Microsoft employee, if it was someone at the FTC, if it's a court employee who did the wrong thing, somehow Microsoft's legal documents from the court case were put onto a public portion of the court's website, which should never have happened. These are literally, they say right on them, these are only for internal use, not for our public eyes. This is our own private documentation of our business plans. You should do not expose this to the public. And so no one really knows at this point, okay, where the documents came from. But they are definitely official. They are from the court website, so they're real. You know what I mean? So what is contained in the documents? I mean, just wait till you hear about this. Number one, the plans for a whole new, refreshed console line of Microsoft Xboxes next year, including the specs, including the change from disc to only digital complete shift, a whole redesign of the look of the console, and a wholly new redesigned controller with new functionality. Wow, that was something we had no clue was even coming. And now we know. And we'll talk about that because I have the specs and everything. We'll discuss it. How about the fact that we have the game lineup of every game that is currently in development at Microsoft and Bethesda, or at least the biggest ones, for the next several years? Because what we have is a game schedule from a few years back, but it kind of was planning out what games would be coming out when. And it is inaccurate because we're in 2023 and this schedule started like 2020. So a lot of these dates were not hit. But still, there's games there that are listed that we know now are in development that we never knew were even existing because they haven't been announced publicly. And now we know all about them. Okay? In addition, how about internal email correspondence from Phil Spencer to everyone at the company discussing strategic plans? Like how he was very upset in 2022 that Xbox games did not have good exclusive lineups. While in 2021, they were knocking it out of the park with games like Psychonauts 2, Halo Infinite, Back 4 Blood, and others. In 2022, they literally had nothing because Starfield got delayed. And he was very upset at this and was actually criticizing everyone internally, saying, you guys got to start having set release dates because we thought we had a great year and you all delayed your games and now we have nothing this year, right? Or how about the fact that there was serious discussion in 2020 that Microsoft wanted to buy Nintendo? Anyway, should we how do we tackle it? Where do we start? Should we start with the discussion about the console? I think we should start with that first. Okay, let's actually do that. So, let me actually because I took a million screenshots here to share with you all today. By the way, the FTC has already come out and said, we're not responsible for uploading Microsoft's plans for its games and consoles to the court website. That wasn't us, so don't blame us. That's all they've said, though. They have no evidence. They're just saying it wasn't us. So, let me get the specs. Hold on. Where the hell is it? We have so much. I have like a million screenshots because there's so much to talk about. Okay. So the new console. All right. from what I'm to understand, and I could be misunderstanding because I'm looking at the leaked documents right here, okay? So next year, Microsoft is going to start publishing creating two new versions of their current consoles. They'll still be called the Xbox Series S and X, okay? But the difference is that they're upgrading the internal components in a few ways. The primary way is storage space. The Series S will go from 512 gigabytes to now 1 terabyte, and the Series X will go from 1 terabyte to 2 terabytes. Okay? New features. They're going to have a new level of wireless. They're calling it Xbox Wireless 2, which they're claiming will have better connectivity and bandwidth than their current wireless. In addition, a higher grade of Bluetooth and a higher grade of Wi-Fi. So basically, they're upgrading every wireless component in all of these things. Apparently, the Series X will now have a new USB-C port, which I don't really understand because some of their ports are USB-C, but I guess it's a specific C to C. So I guess it would be, is it that little oval connector to oval connector? Is that what they're trying to say there, I guess? I'm not sure. Also, the big change is, number one, there will be no disk drives on any of them. They're actually getting rid of all the disk drives completely. So I've been telling you guys, because people keep asking me, do you think that physical game discs are on the way out? The answer undoubtedly is yes. If one of the big three console manufacturers has decided they are no longer going to care about physical media and they're going to make all digital consoles moving forward, that is a huge shift into industry. And I think we've already seen in the last few years a major push for everything to go digital. These companies do not want to be mass producing these discs anymore. I mean, take a look at what you get inside of a game box. It's empty besides the game disc. There's not even anything in there at all. It's just, what's the point? That's not even the game. When you pump that game disc into your console, immediately it initiates a day one download that actually downloads the real game. A lot of these discs are just placeholders, okay? So, yeah, we are now entering the era where even Microsoft is acknowledging that, boy, this stain is bothering me. It looks old, though, so it must have been from, like earlier this year or last year. Anyway, yeah, basically the way I see it is that Microsoft is going to be the leader of saying get rid of these discs. Now, if you remember, we already know that PlayStation is doing a very similar thing. They're redesigning the PS5 to also not have a disc drive, but if you want to use physical media, you buy a standalone USB-C disc drive that you plug into the console. It's an additional cost, you see? So both major console makers are now saying, yeah, it's time to get rid of physical media. It's sad because it is a major part of our gaming history to have physical media, right? I mean, think of it this way. When you go to a game convention and you go to the games marketplace, what do you see? Everyone's selling, collecting, trading classic games. That literally won't exist anymore. There's nothing to sell or trade. Everything's in the ether. Everything's on the internet. Everything's digital, right? An endless license agreement. No physical media whatsoever, right? So, I mean, there you go. It'll be definitely different. It'll be kind of a retro thing. Kind of like I remember when I was a kid, with my uncle, we would go to train shows where inside of a giant hall, people would have these giant train sets set up. Not toy trains, but model trains that would actually run on tracks, and you have this big elaborate landscape that would look like a town and stuff. Now you say today, you're like, what? That existed? Yeah, it was a big thing for collectors back in the day. People would have these setups in their homes and would actually go to these shows, look at other people's displays, and you would buy new things to add to your setup at home. It was a big hobby. Today, it doesn't even exist anymore. I'm pretty sure it's gone. But that's what I mean. Like, these hobbies have existed over time, and then they just get outdated, and no one cares about them anymore. So the way I see it, that's physical media. Physical media will become a collector's hobby that will eventually fade into nothing as everything now is online. You see what I mean? So, there you go. Sad, but, one of the big things. By the way, the new look of the Xbox, I don't know if you guys saw it. That's it. It's round, apparently. It's not a rectangular shape anymore. It's actually like a cylinder. So, I don't know what the benefit of it looking like a cylinder is, but it looks like a cylinder. Okay? Yeah, exactly, like a speaker. I agree. It looks like a speaker. Absolutely it does. So anyway, that's the new Xbox coming out. So everything will have double storage capacity. And you know, a few extra wireless features and things like that. Now, the key factor, it's exactly the same price as the Xbox today. They're not increasing the price of the console. They just want, if you're going to buy an Xbox, buy the newer one for the same price as the old one. You know what I mean? Like, they're not trying to make profit on this. What they're trying to do is expand their market share. They realize that right now they are way behind PS5. So I think what they're thinking is keep the prices the same, but increase the features for the same price, and maybe more people will buy the console. I guess we'll see. So that's supposed to come out at the end of next year. Like fall of next year is when that's supposed to launch, okay? Also, there's a brand new Xbox controller coming out. I'll show you this too. As you'll notice, it looks almost identical to the current one, except they've redesigned the color scheme to be dark at the bottom and then color on top. And essentially what they've done, they're replacing the components to have the same components very similar to the Pro. You know how they have the Pro controllers right now, or the Elite, I should say the Elite controllers? So they're basically upgrading the components to basically be like an Elite controller, okay? It has a gyroscopic control built into it. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Gyroscopic controls have been used many times over the years. Motion controls for the Wii or the PS Move. The PS3 controller at launch had gyroscopic controls built in called the 6-axis. It was used for very few games and then dropped completely to the point where on the next level of controller was released, they dropped it entirely and it hasn't come back. So when I hear gyroscopic controls, I'm like, I don't really think it's going to be implemented that much. Even for Nintendo games that have it, I usually disable it. I don't think gyroscopic controls are needed or the way of the future. I think they're kind of an idea of the past. So it's a little weird to me that they're adding the gyroscopic stuff in there because I'm not necessarily knowing that many places are going to be using it. They also claim that they've redesigned the thumbsticks to last a little longer. So basically, it's kind of an upgrade, but it's not necessarily a big change. It's just they want to improve the quality of life of their console. The other big thing is that according to this roadmap that was leaked, okay, they're planning on releasing a new console by 2028, and the big news about this new console is that it's supposed to be a cloud hybrid console. So what they want to do, they're hoping that by 2028, the internet infrastructure improves to the point where you can actually start playing a game only within minutes, digitally, and the game will load itself as you're playing it, and you won't have to do a full install on the fly. Like most games today, you have to download the whole game and then play it locally off your hard drive. They're looking for cloud hybrid model on the next console. Will that work? I don't know. Google Stadia just tried it and failed miserably. But we are talking 5+ years into the future. A lot of things can change in 5+ years. Will the internet actually improve enough? I don't know. I'm very skeptical about cloud gaming. And we have tried cloud gaming on the PlayStation 5. If you remember, PlayStation 5 Platinum has cloud gaming. Some games actually worked pretty well. Remember we tried Infamous 2, and it didn't work that bad. It was a little fuzzy, but it worked. It had a little bit of input delay, but it was definitely playable. Maybe in 5 years, that technology will advance even further, and it will be feasible as a new console, right? I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. But it's an interesting attempt that this is Microsoft saying in 5 years they want to have a hybrid cloud gaming console. When they say hybrid, it makes me feel like the whole thing won't be cloud gaming. Like, you will do a local install to start the game, right? And then maybe over time, it'll start to backload or something like that. I'm not sure. But definitely, to me, it's an interesting concept, okay? So, again, the new console refreshes are actually supposed to launch in fall 2024, and their new console is actually supposed to launch in 2028, supposedly. That's what they're aiming for, okay? Now, the next big bombshell in this data dump that should not have been on the internet, okay? Games. So what happened was, there was I'm going to show it to you. See, it says title release schedule. It's completely blurry. You can't read that. But basically, this was a schedule from 2020, so it's outdated by several years. But what this was a roadmap of games that they had intended to have come out at a certain time period, and a lot of these didn't actually happen. For example, if you take a look at what they're listing here, they had originally listed various games. Like, what is Project Hibiki? I don't even know what that is. But that was supposed to come out in 2021, and I don't even know what the hell that is. The Indiana Jones game that they're currently developing was actually supposed to come out in 2022, and they're actually, listen to this, working on an Elder Scrolls Oblivion remaster, and that was supposed to come out in 2022 and did not. Okay? In addition, because they thought that Starfield was actually coming out in 2022, they'd already planned for DLC to come out for Starfield by the end of 2022 into 2023, and of course that didn't happen. Now, here's some interesting things we don't know what they are, all right, that are big bombshells. Doom Year Zero. What the hell is that? A new Doom game, Year Zero, sounds to me like this is when the first experiments were happening on interdimensional travel, and they opened the gate to hell accidentally, and maybe when the first demons were coming through. I'm not exactly sure, but that's what it sounds like to me. So it's a prequel Doom game, apparently, is being worked on. How about Project Kestrel and Project Platinum? Those are code names. We don't know what those games are, but at least we know there's two other high-profile games that were actually supposed to come out by the end of this year that obviously are not. Okay? How about Fallout 3 Remaster, which was originally scheduled for next year? Yeah, they were remastering Fallout 3 as a more modern game. I'm going to guess they probably were going to put it into the Fallout 4 engine, right? But again, that hasn't been announced yet. So how far along in development is that? I don't know. How about this one? A Ghostwire Tokyo sequel. Now, here's the thing. This schedule was based on 2020. So in 2020, they were probably guessing that Ghostwire Tokyo was actually going to be a hit when it came out. And when it came out, guess what? It wasn't a hit. It did not do well. In fact, it ended up hitting like Game Pass within the first year of it being out. And they basically had felt that it probably was going to be a giant hit based on the reputation of the studio, and it didn't do so well. So probably I would guess that one is not going to happen, okay? But how about Dishonored 3? Yes, that's actually listed on here. Dishonored 3. And the thing is, we thought that Bethesda was totally done with Dishonored. Like, we thought that franchise was done, over with. But apparently, secretly behind the scenes, they've been working on Dishonored 3 all along. And we just didn't know it. Okay? Now, here's another big bombshell, although I don't really think it's a bombshell, is official, at least from these leaks. Elder Scrolls 6, whatever it's going to be called, whatever it's going to be, will not be on PlayStation 5. That they are developing it as a PC and Xbox exclusive. They don't have plans to have it come out on a PlayStation console. Now, we all know things can change. And this was, again, a lot of this data is outdated. Maybe initially this was the plan, but the fact that we know that the game is still in pre-production, right? We don't know if possibly those plans have changed. All we know is, this was old data, and at one point they were not planning on actually having that be cross-platform. They wanted to keep it in their own house, basically. Okay? What else? Because there's so many leaks here, it's absolutely ridiculous. Apparently, Red Dead Redemption 2 is actually being planned to be a next-gen release. Like, they're actually going to port it to next-gen consoles. It just hasn't been officially announced yet, but they found references to that in the data. So apparently, yeah, Rockstar is secretly working on Red Dead Redemption 2 for modern consoles, okay? Geez, what else? I guess what we could do now, let's talk about some of the internal emails. All right, like I already said, one of the internal emails, I'm not going to read it word for word, but Phil Spencer in 2022 was very upset. And it's funny because we were all talking about this last year, and we were of the same mindset as Phil Spencer. We said, geez, how is it that 2021, all right, was such a good year when it came to Game Pass games. If you took a look at the year of 2021, it felt like every year there was a major Game Pass game and a really good reason to have Game Pass, right? Like we talked about releases like Psychonauts and Halo Infinite, and every month a big heavy hitter. Like even some months when there wasn't giant ones, there was at least like a smaller game that was, oh, this is a nice game to have on Game Pass. All of a sudden, in 2022, it was like a drought, right? And there was a few games there that I played that I liked. For example, I was happy that I had it because I played Skyrim. I played Skyrim Anniversary Edition and things like that. So I was still kind of getting my money's worth out of Game Pass. But it was weird that 2022, it's like everything just kind of died. And there wasn't much coming out at all. And it was confusing. How did you front load all your games for 1 year and then none for 2022? And Phil Spencer agreed, and he wrote an internal email to all his staff saying, listen, we got to get better at game release dates. Because essentially what we had was a roadmap that showed every year we would have a good mix. And what ended up happening was a lot of you dumped your games in 2021. A lot of you pushed your games out to 2023. We literally have nothing for this year. How are we supposed to sell consoles? This is dumb. We have to do better than this. So what's funny is in that same email, he references, let's hope that Redfall is our next big game. And I hate to say it, that email is kind of telling. What that tells me is that Phil Spencer is way too much of a hands-off leader. He's supposed to be the head of Xbox Gaming. How does he not know what's going on with the development cycle of the games? How does he not have any kind of conscious control of it? And how did he not know that Redfall was such an atrocious mess? Right? He was actually banking on Redfall being a great game that was going to be a reason to get Game Pass, and ended up being the laughing stock of the gaming community earlier this year. How did he not know it was that bad? It just tells me he never even went there to even look at the game, check on the progress. He just let them do whatever they wanted over there. And then it ended up being a giant ball of shit, right? So, I mean, that's just bad. But of course, the email everyone's talking about is this email from 2020 where Phil Spencer was essentially mulling prospects of actually buying out Nintendo or maybe even Valve, okay? And he said that Microsoft's board of investors, directors, whatever the fuck it is, because I think they're probably both, would be supportive of these kind of moves if the opportunity ever arised, all right? But the thing you've got to understand about internal emails like this is that this is just conjecture. This is just internal discussion. This is not, we have made the decision, case closed, gavel comes down, and now legal proceedings start. This is just people mulling about in discussion. And so when I hear things such as, oh, Phil Spencer wants to buy Nintendo, right? I mean, did he actually say that? He said it would be a good business move, right? Buying out one of your major competitors. Imagine if Microsoft did buy Nintendo and turn Nintendo into the kids branch. So all the kiddie games under there, you know, they'll keep making Mario, they'll keep making Zelda, they'll keep making Smash Brothers, and that becomes their kiddie branch of games, right? While their other studios work on more adult-oriented content. Is that a good business move? I mean, those are crazy valuable IPs right there, and Microsoft is filthy rich. A lot of people don't realize this. Microsoft has so much money from Windows that they can do whatever they want. They're not going to go out of business overnight. You have to understand this. It's just, even if Xbox were to completely fail, they would still be fine, you know? So they have the clout and the money to do stuff like that, right? What gets me about it is that people read an email like this and they're freaking out. You see, this is evidence that Xbox is evil. And even though we all make fun that Sony's been buying out studios recently, it's really evil Xbox that wants to purchase everything. And it's like, where do you get that? Where do you even get that from reading this email? I don't get that at all. I get that this is a CEO mulling over possibilities that may not even come to fruition. Because here's the thing. It's not just a matter of Microsoft buys Nintendo. It's a matter of that Nintendo wants to sell. And Microsoft then buys Nintendo. That's what he says. If the opportunity arises. If anything ever went so far south for Nintendo that they wanted to sell. Okay? Who even knows if that would ever happen? This is just all internal hypotheticals that they're talking amongst themselves It's literally just a corporate banter between people. This is our fucking game plan, and this is what we're going to do. But people take it as like, Phil Spencer just wanted to buy out everything. Like, dude, what on earth are you talking about? It's literally not what it even says. But that's just how people are, right? They always jump to the ridiculous conclusion or whatever. But anyway, this is just the tip of the I mean, there's tons of information. I just covered some of the things that I found the most interesting. I strongly recommend, if you're interested in this story, you look it up yourself. All this data is publicly available online. It's pretty crazy that it leaked like this. And my question will be, what's going to happen? Will Microsoft say, well, it's all out there, so fuck it. Just acknowledge it all and say move forward with these plans? Or are they now going to internally have a panic mode meeting, which they're probably having today, and say, we need to completely reassess where we are and maybe change half our plans, because now it's essentially, it's almost corporate espionage, where now all your competitors know what you're doing, right? This is key information for Sony, Nintendo, and others to make moves in the industry based on what they know Microsoft has in the pipeline. That's not good, and that's not fair, honestly. There was no reason for this stuff to go public, ever. It never should have been public. And so the question will be, who did it? Was it actually a Microsoft employee who accidentally uploaded this to this public part of the court website? Was it actually the FTC who leaked the information and never should have done it? Was it the court in general made a mistake and accidentally made this internal stuff public and hurt Microsoft? Like, who did it? And this could end up being an insane lawsuit, because this information was never supposed to go public, nor should have. It never should have been made public in this court proceeding. Anything in a court like this is supposed to stay private. There are certain situations that things that are filed publicly, but this is not one of them. This is outright a mistake. So someone's getting roasted. Someone's going to have their balls over the coals, and someone's going to get sued for a lot of money. And the question is, who is it? Because we don't know who actually did it yet, and that'll be an interesting story to find out what's really going on long term here. But anyway, again, give it a look. You will be fascinated by all this info that leaked. I certainly was, and I hope that you will enjoy it, because it's cool not being an insider in the industry and knowing what's coming. Like, out of all those announcements, I don't care about a new Xbox. I'm not going to get it. I don't need it. My Xbox is perfectly fine, and all the hardware will remain the same inside, so I don't need a new Xbox. But maybe a new controller, right, coming in the pipeline, that could be nice. And of course, the games, like, I'm all for a Fallout 3 remaster. Obviously, I just played Oblivion. I don't really care too much about that. A new Doom game could be interesting, right? I'm blown away they're making Dishonored 3. I thought that franchise was done. And to know that they're making a new one is kind of an interesting thing, because I like the Dishonored franchise. So it would be nice to have a third game with some innovations, possibly, okay? So, anyway, there you go. I do have a couple more things. One other news story, which isn't much of a news story. Capcom released the statistics of Street Fighter 6 for August. Character usage. All right, the top 5 characters used in competitive play from Platinum, Diamond, and Master ranks in Street Fighter 6 for the month of August. In 5th place, Juri. In 4th place, Cammy. In 3rd place, Ryu. That one is a little surprising. Ryu in 3rd place. In 2nd place, Marisa. That one does actually confuse me. I honestly don't think Marisa is that good of a character. I just think that if you stand around mashing medium punch, you'll get lucky, and every time she hits you with one mashed medium punch, she's going to hit you for like 50% damage. You know what I mean? But I don't necessarily think that she's very good. I just think that she's that one-hit luck kind of a character. Outside of that, I don't think she's nearly as good as the top tiers, so it's weird to me that she's that high ranked. And of course, number 1, you could have predicted this with your eyes closed, is of course Ken. Yes, he's still dominating the ranks. Yes, the report is still more than 1/5 of the people in Master rank are still using Ken, and the statistic is actually going up, because Kens have the easy way to fucking Master rank, which is really stupid. So there you go. Outside of that, that's really all I've got. Except I was a little inspired. Okay? I was a little inspired overnight. I found a nice inspirational quote. I'm going to read you the quote. I want you to think about what it truly means. And then I'm going to tell you who actually said it. All right? So here's an inspirational quote that I got overnight. I wish you the kind of life's work in which you can use the greatest part of who you are. And I wish you the kind of life's love that will enhance all that you do, as well as all that you are. That is a heck of a quote, isn't it? Imagine if you could do work in your life that lets you be the best you. And imagine that you found true love in your life that enhances that. And you know what? I'll be honest, that's what I have. And that's why I'm so happy. And a lot of people say, why are you happy? Because sometimes you have financial problems and you have trolls all over your ass constantly. That's why I'm happy. Because my job lets me love what I do. I'm using everything that I know. And you know what I mean? I absolutely love what I do for a living. And my wife enhances my life in everything that I am. She has made me a better person. So that's why I'm truly happy. Now, do you know who said that? Are you ready for this? Mr. Rogers. Yeah, that guy was a fucking genius. Some of the stuff he said, it's truly inspirational. All right, ladies and gents, that is what I've got this morning. So, what I like to do now, people are laughing at Mr. Rogers. Don't you ever laugh at Mr. Rogers. I'll come slap you. Anyway, it is time. That very much embraces the attitude of Mr. Rogers, doesn't it? If you insult him, I'll slap you. Anyway. Let's do some shout-outs, shall we? We start off today with Juan, who re-upped his membership for 3 months. Says, how are you doing today? I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I'm very excited for more Lies of P in just a few minutes here. Lucifer Soul did a $20 super chat this morning. And he says hold on. Excuse me. I wanted to turn away from the mic because that was absolutely disgusting. I apologize. Okay, let's try that again. Lucifer Soul just did a $20 super chat. And he says, why skip Game of the Year Baldur's Gate 3? It got extra attention because Bethesda is shooting themselves in the foot, making games exclusive this far into the life cycle of PS5 and the Xbox 4. I think I've explained about maybe 70, 80 times why I'm not playing Baldur's Gate 3. I'm just not going to repeat myself this morning. I'm sorry. I'm not. But I appreciate the super chat. What's going on, Jade? What's going on, Soda Cup? Good evening, good evening. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining me. Spawn Killer did a super chat. He says, I did not know Xbox's net worth is $2 trillion. Yeah, Xbox has been around the block. I don't know if actually just Xbox in general is $2 trillion, or if that includes other Microsoft endeavors, but they're pretty rich. Mr. Mole did a super chat, and he says, Phil's an icon. Always nice to watch. Thank you, Mr. Mole. Lies for Soul did another super chat. Says, how are the sales for Starfield compared to other games? That's all I want to say. Yeah, we don't know, right? Again, it's another one of these situations where the game will be molded in this Game Pass stuff. So, if Microsoft really... Oh, by the way, we're done with DSP News. If Microsoft really does release sales numbers for Starfield, will it actually be people who bought the game or people who just got it on Game Pass? Now, here's another question. How do you discern between a Game Pass purchase, an outright purchase, or a person who already had a Game Pass subscription and then paid the $30 extra to play it early? It's a mess. How do you even count those numbers? I don't even know. Can you count those numbers, right? How does it work? I feel like a lot of these games, this is the problem now. When you have these subscription services involved with them, it's almost impossible to figure out who bought it and who didn't. Should that count as a sale? Should it not count as a sale? Like we talked about, maybe it shouldn't just simply be downloading it, but instead actually playing it past like an hour. How many people have Game Pass, downloaded Starfield, booted it up, played it for an hour, said, wow, this game sucks, and never played it again? Should that be considered I bought the game? You know what I mean? I don't know. We are in definitely a different era for gaming. And I don't think that we have enough track record evidence or even data yet to figure out how to report sales. That's a little scary, actually, to not know how games are doing. You know? I mean, Starfield, everyone was abuzz about Starfield for about a week. Now the hype has definitely died down. And you have two schools of thought. Some people really love it, and some people are like, wow, this game's a disappointment. Definitely that's where it went. It kind of split, and you have two schools now going on. But at the same time, buzz has moved on. People are talking about other games now. The Starfield hype has dwindled, which is going to happen. Now you're going to see as new games come out, that's where the talk and hype will be. Will ever the discussion gravitate back to Starfield? I don't know, right? So I guess we'll see. I don't know. It's kind of like Baldur's Gate 3. The only people who are here talking about Baldur's Gate 3 are PC enthusiasts. Like, did you know Baldur's Gate 3 came out for PlayStation? I didn't know. It did. It's out for PlayStation right now. No one cared because everything else was coming out, which is exactly what I told you would happen, is that when all these other games were coming out, they were going to get the priority, not Baldur's Gate 3. So this is what happens. The hype always moves with whatever's new, and that's fine. I'm not slighting Baldur's Gate 3 in any way. I'm just saying I knew that what would happen. So it's kind of interesting to see how I see these patterns in gaming and gaming media particularly too. But yeah, I don't know. How do you judge sales? I have no idea how on earth you would judge sales for Starfield. That's a very valid, legitimate question that needs to be answered that we don't have an answer for yet. Because you know Microsoft will want to involve every single Game Pass download. And I don't think that should be counted like that. I just don't think, I don't see it a Game Pass download as a sale. I don't see it that way at all. You know, I think that's bullshit. Just because someone's a subscriber of a network. What if, how about this? What if people have Game Pass and earlier this year, they said, oh yeah, just mark down for download these 7 games. Now over the year, they didn't even realize they had those marked for download and then they're never going to play them. You could have someone who downloaded Starfield, never booted it, but it counts as a sale because they downloaded it. Is that a sale? Of course it's not. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't know. I guess we'd have to say, how on earth do you count it? I don't know. It's a great question. I do feel like we need answers on that. I don't think that we have answers for that yet. Spawn Killer did super chat. He says, do you think Microsoft will buy Nintendo? I don't think Nintendo would sell. I'm serious about this now. I think Nintendo has always been one of those companies, especially because they are Japanese, okay, where I feel that they would never sell just solely on the fact that they are Japanese and proud. You know what I'm saying? Like, Nintendo is one of the very few companies that still will never admit fault. The entire Wii U era, when no one wanted that console, everyone said it was shit. They would not admit fault, right? They never do that. They always feel like they're better, or people just don't get it. What do you mean people don't get it? No, you don't get people. Not every idea you ever have in your life cycle as a company will be a good one, and that's okay. You can make mistakes, you can rebound from them. It's okay as long as you publicly admit them and you learn from them. But Nintendo doesn't do that. Nintendo's like, oh, so, we made this console that no one wants. Buy our amiibos. Buy these for 4 years to keep our company afloat while no one's buying our games and console. And then we'll come back, financed by these, we'll come back and make a better console. But never actually say they goofed, right? That's how they are. It's a cultural thing with Japan. It really is. It is a cultural thing. And I'm not down-talking Japan. I'm just saying it is a cultural thing that Japanese companies in particular have this feeling of like pride and almost elitism and in a lot of cases xenophobia, that they think that they're better and they always kind of feel like their shit doesn't stink. And so they're going to have those kind of feelings. I don't think Nintendo would sell. I mean it. I don't think Nintendo would ever sell to anyone. Did you know that this happened before? I want to say it was like either the late 90s or early 2000s. There were all discussions and Nintendo was approached by companies to be bought out and they told them outright, fuck no. No, we're not. No, absolutely not. So I don't think that would ever happen. I don't think they would ever sell. I don't believe that. So. Okay. Anyway. Thank you, Spawn Killer, for the super chat. Okay. All right. So now we swap over. And looks like we're going to be doing some tip shout-outs. Let's take a look at what we have today. We start today with Lady Charisma with a $2 tip. And Lady Charisma says, in my opinion, Souls-like genre is a double-edged sword. Some are fun, most are mid. When one is really good, it definitely shows. So there you go. Thank you, Lady Charisma. And I think you're right, because at this point, there are so many Soulsborne games that are essentially not FromSoft, that the good ones stand out and the bad ones don't. I think Lies of P right now is really standing out as one of the most polished ones. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we'll get further in, it'll suck. But right now, the game is definitely feeling polished and fun. So thank you for that. I received a $1 tip from King Be Cruel. He said, can't believe you beat the second boss without a Spectre. I could not beat him. Watching you beat him gave me a second wind. I got back into the game, and after many trial and error, I did beat him. I got that same high when I first played the Soulsborne games. Thank you for playing the game. I know it's late, but I want a death counter. We're not doing death counter. Those are... Let me put it this way, all right? The death counter is essentially a tool for people who want to essentially turn it into a fucking Raz session. And I'm enjoying the game. I'm having a great time with it. I like the fact that if I die, it's fine. I could run right back, reapply myself. I don't have to worry about keeping an accurate count of bullshit. Oh, well, there was a scripted death. Does that count as a death or not? Fuck that. It's all nonsense. And by the way, no one uses death counter. Let me be honest with you. I always thought, you guys told me that death counter was like a really prominent thing. I went out. Soulsborne streamers don't use it. All right? No one fucking uses this thing. Basically, I was convinced over the years by my audience to use it so that my trolls could laugh at me and say, ha, look at how many deaths he has. No one fucking cares about how many deaths you have in a Soulsborne game. That's the whole fucking point, is that you die a ton, but you persevere and you come back and you win. There's no reason for it. It serves no purpose besides a malicious purpose. I'm not wasting my time with malicious people anymore. I'm done with them. So they can go fuck themselves. I'm not catering to people who want malicious shit on my content. I'm not putting a death counter into it. Okay. Oh, let's see here. Smart Phrases to me $2 says, he who goes to bed with an itchy butt will wake up with some stinky fingers. That's absolutely disgusting. But thank you for a $2 tip. Alrighty then. Alright. I received a $5 tip from Dr. Oink. Well, Dr. Oink, it's ridiculous. Let me put it this way. He asked me a question, right? And it sounds like he wants, like, serious discussion about something. But then he says, but this is kind of private, so you probably don't want to read it out. I'm like, wait, but you tipped me and you asked it to me publicly. So I'm glad that I actually read the whole thing before I just read it. If you want serious answers for something, you can always email me. I can't, like, why on earth would I answer that publicly when then you say you probably shouldn't read this out? Right? If you want to talk about something like that, you can email me. All right? Okay. Excuse me. It's absolutely positively disgusting. I've also received a $10 tip from Tarantula MS, which is the biggest tip of the day so far. And they said, hey, Phil, what is going on, Tarantula? How are you doing? Good to have you here today on the stream. I hope that you're doing well. That will get us up to $20 in tips so far today. Thank you, Tarantula. I hope you've been enjoying the stuff I've been putting out recently. It's good to have you here. Okay. Oh my goodness. A big yawn out of nowhere. Whew. Okay. So. Let's see here. 672 did a super chat. He said, I like Death Counter. I don't want to go fuck myself. Well, it's too bad. They are in tandem. If you like Death Counter, you've got to go self-fuck. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. No. I've told you guys over the years, all right? If the Death Counter was something that had any kind of meaning, if it was something that I felt really added to a playthrough, I would do it. The times I've done it, it's always intrusive. It's like, okay, I died to a boss. It was a close thing. Let's go right back to it. No, you got to update the death counter. Like, no, I don't want to fucking update the death. I just want to play the game. No, you got to update the death counter. Then I'll forget to update the death counter, and everyone in the chat, you didn't update it. 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 And it's just like, shut the fuck up. I want to play the game. I don't want to sit here and listen to people whining about the death counter. So when it got that bad, that's when I determined I just don't want it anymore, and I turned it off, and I never brought it back, and I'm not going to. That's the thing. Like, I found my experience with these ultra hard games has been dramatically improved when I don't have to micromanage little stupid kitty bullshit like that. So I'm not going to waste my time on it. It literally adds nothing. You understand that, right? When I was playing Elden Ring, didn't I have like 40,000 deaths? Who gives two fucks? It didn't add a thing to the playthrough to have that. So I'm not wasting time on it anymore. Okay. Radical Jaws did a super chat. He says, your burps are legendary. I don't even mind anymore. Laughing out loud. Well, thank you for that. I swear to you, I don't mean to do them. I really don't. I don't mean to belch. It just happens naturally. Dr. Oink did a super chat. He says, just vaguey, if that makes sense. There's no way, Dr. Oink, I can do it vaguey. It's just not possible. I'm sorry. It's just not. Something like that, you want to talk about it, we'll do it privately. Okay. All right. Why not just play Baldur's Gate 3 later, asked Andy Young. I didn't say I would never do that. I don't know what you're so concerned about. I never said I would never, ever play Baldur's Gate 3. I said there's no way I'm playing it now. It's impossible. That's what I said. Radical Jaws, I have the same issue. It comes out of nowhere. All right, so you understand. What's going on, Jade? Good to see you today. Beaver Bother, I didn't miss your tip. There's no tip. I read out every single tip that just came in. I did not skip any tips. I don't know what you're talking about. So, there you go. If you tried to tip, it didn't come through. I never played a Wall-E video game, no. In fact, I've only seen the Wall-E movie once ever, and it was with my wife a few years ago. Why is Beaver Bother in the chat? That's a good question, because you know he was banned, and he just came back on a sock account, and I just never got around to really doing anything about it, you know. It's a very valid question. Okay. Oh, let's see here. Why won't I answer the question if we will get to watch you do master matches? What are you talking about? I've answered the question a million times. Yes, I'd be interested in playing master matches. The problem is right now, I'm barely playing Street Fighter as it is, right? How can I invest in time to play the game at master level when I don't have time to play the game at all? We talked about this a million times. It's just that people don't fucking listen, and then they come here and they pester me. There's the same question over and over, so then it sounds like I'm not answering it. No, I've answered it a million times. You just don't listen. So if you listen, you ready to listen? So here's what you need to do. Take your fingers, and I want you to clear out your ear canals. What's that? Oh my God, there's a whole fucking pumpkin in my ear. Pull that shit out and throw it away. Oh, there's a giant whole fucking ear of corn over here. Pull it out. Throw it away. You ready? I would love to play master matches in Street Fighter 6. I will eventually do so. We don't have time to play a lot of Street Fighter 6 right now because we're entering the busiest gaming season of the year. So the few times I get to play will be like for DLC characters, or for example, this climb with Lily I've been working on for like several weeks. That's my focus. Eventually, we will get to master matches. When there's more time, when things free up, when there's not a million new releases, that's when we'll focus on that because I'll have more time to play at a higher level and learn that level. I don't have time for that right now, so why waste time asking me the same fucking question? Good Lord. Knickerbocker says, I hope that you will, for the Halloween Marathon, give Phasmophobia a shot. I've heard so much about Phasmophobia, and I guess it's coming out for consoles before Halloween. So if you guys wanted to see that, sure. What's going to happen is the first week of October, 2 threads will appear on the community tab of DSP Gaming. One will be for everyone, and one will be for just members. You guys will be able to nominate games for about a week and a half to 2 weeks. At that time, I will tally up the results of nominations and make polls, and then you guys will vote, and those polls will actually determine the handful of games that we will play for the Halloween Marathon event. So, yeah, and that absolutely I would consider that one. I don't see why not. Okay? Sean says, when Starfield? Tomorrow. Tomorrow's daytime stream. Okay. Andy, we had a giant segment about the leaked Xbox info. Rewind and watch it. It was a ginormous segment. Oh yeah, Mr. Game Master says, Nintendo did a launch trailer for Mortal Kombat 1. It has 3,000 dislikes. Are you surprised? With how bad it looks? What is a reasonable tip amount? That is a question. It's a valid question, and the only person who can validly answer that question is you. Because I don't know what's a reasonable tip amount for you. I have no idea. For some people, it would be 0. For some people, it would be larger. I don't know. That's your call, depending on how much you like my content, how much you want to support it, how much you can afford. It's your call, not mine. I'm not here to tell you. That's not even right for me to even say something like that. That'd be absolutely ridiculously presumptuous. Okay. I received an $11 tip. Again from Dr. Oink. Okay. And he says, I want to let you know I really enjoy your streams over the past few years, especially Heavy Rain playthroughs. And he said, I think the death counter is stupid. There you go. All right. Well, thank you very much to Dr. Oink for an $11 tip, which currently is the biggest tip of the stream. So let's get him up on the leaderboard. He beat Tarantula. Thank you, thank you. Okay. We got just a few extra minutes. If anyone has any questions you'd like to toss my way for Q&A, we can do that quickly before we adjourn and take a small break, and then we jump into Lies of P again. Reflection says I got the wrong numbered thumbnails. Do I really? Did I just screw that up? Yep. I'll fix that right now. Thank you. My fault. I was doing it quickly this morning. I was trying to rush to get the thumbnails up because I received them overnight. And I put the wrong thumbnails on. Thank you. Let me reverse those. Appreciate that. Always appreciate you guys looking out for me and helping me with stuff like that. Thank you so much. Zoop. And should be fixed as of right now. Thanks so much for telling me. Appreciate that. Okay. Quick fix. What was the biggest tip I ever got? I don't remember. I know that I've received like over 1,000. But that I don't remember. I don't think about that stuff. Honestly, I don't. Like, I know there were times on Twitch where people would come by and gift hundreds of subs at once. It was insane. And then there was times where I get a ginormous tip for like a special event or something. But I don't, first of all, let's be honest. Those times are long in the past. It's incredibly rare when I get something ginormously large. All right? I'm just not expecting it, nor is it going to really happen. I'm a realist. And it doesn't really, that's not what I'm here for. You know what I mean? I would much rather remember the meaningful moments we had during game streams and stuff like that, or fun conversations we had, rather than a moment where I got a contribution. You know what I mean? It's not what resonates with me. Lives for Soldiers did a $10 super chat. It says, Kingdom Come Deliverance is a hidden gem you missed. No, it's terrible. I watched my wife play it. It was trash. Really. I watched her play it. It starts off interesting, and within the first 2 hours, it's garbage. It really is not a very good game. I'm sorry. At least not my style of game. Okay. Thank you, Blimp. The Blimp says, I love their content. Cool. Can I ban the ability to submit a video over 10 minutes long for DSP React? Here's the thing. And we've already talked about this. People know that DSP Reacts is a clip show, right? So when they submit those longer videos, I think they know I'm not watching the whole video. But it might very well be that we watch a little bit of it, we get some enjoyment out of it, and maybe what that is number one, that'll turn other people on if they want to watch the whole video because they were intrigued by it, and maybe it'll give me ideas for future content as well. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily think that we should just limit people to only tiny short clips, because that would severely limit what we watch. Sometimes we do watch like a 10-minute video if it's really good. There have been a few times where we've watched the entirety of a longer video because I really was fascinated by it. So let me put it this way. If it became a huge rampant problem where every video being submitted was like 30 minutes long, then I would probably lay down the law. But I don't think we need to do that. I think that the show is fine right now. I don't know about the Mario Luigi RPG games, never played them, so I can't really attest to them, Mr. Game Master. They were all handheld, and I didn't play any of those handheld era of games. I was playing Street Fighter. Jade, I'm glad to have you here to talk to us, as always. What's up, X-Shooter? How you doing today? Comment Frenzy, I cannot update the leaderboards. Or excuse me, automate the leaderboards. Every once in a while we get this question. I feel like it's appropriate. It's been like a year since I've been asked this question. Why not answer it? So Comment Frenzy, the reason that things are not automated around here are for a good reason. Okay? I have a very large hater base. I don't know why, because 99% of the time the reasons that people don't like me are completely nonsensical or based on conspiracies and horseshit that isn't even real. But that's how the internet is. People are nuts. So, because I have a giant hater base, these people go out of their way to try to hurt me in any way, shape, or form. One of the things they've done over the years is they try to do things such as put spoilers. They try to say racist things, disgusting sexual things, horrendous. They dox people, all right? They do a lot of this kind of shit, and they try to do it in the chat. They try to do it at all ways, all right? If I were to automate everything, like if this leaderboard automated super chats, automated tips, automated everything, these people would go out of their way to try to put things up there that would literally get me banned from YouTube, right? They would put some variation of a racial term. They would put, again, someone's address and try to dox. And they say, oh, you see, Phil doxed someone on stream. And they would do this to try to get me banned. So the reason that everything is manual is so that it's all under my control. Nothing will get up here unless I've screened it ahead of time. There's some exceptions, things that will still get up here that are stupid, but usually that's just the thing. If it's something stupid, it's not a big deal. Big deal if someone made a dumb comment or remark. That's different than someone trying to actually go so extreme to try to get me banned from YouTube. You understand? They tried this on Twitch as well. And the thing is, yeah, YouTube and Twitch, they do hold you accountable for what is in your stream, even if you didn't put it up there, you know? So I gotta be careful about anything that shows up on my stream. That's why I don't automate anything. It's and by the way, I will say this too. I'm a little bit different than most streamers. A lot of streamers, they just want everything automated. Why? Because then they don't have to worry about it, right? For me, no, I kind of want to be a little worried about it. Why? Because I want to be thankful for every contribution I get. Do you understand? I want to shout them all out. And if I don't have to manually do it, that means there's potential that things could be automated. I never thank somebody. That's messed up. I want to thank every person who contributes to my content. Whether it's a super chat, a super sticker, a membership, a gifted membership, or a tip, I want to be sure to say thank you to every person. So by having it this way, manual, it means that I have to get regular into the groove of always thanking every thing that pops up. And I've gotten better and better at it over the years. And now these streams are very personal. You know, people actually are grateful that I give shout outs to every contribution as opposed to some bigger streamer who the chat goes a million miles an hour so they can never talk to anyone because it's just like this bunch of nonsense. And then there's a papa, 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 papa. They don't even know what the fuck's going on. I mean, yeah, they probably make thousands of dollars in a stream, but that's not what I'm about. I'd rather have a meaningful stream with you guys than a stream that I get rich. So that's the difference, okay? I hope that makes sense. Okay. RGB says, how about length tiers for reacts? If you're an ultra member, you get 10 minutes. Supers get 7.5 minutes. Regulars get 5 minutes. Watch more of the videos and incentivize people to up their tier of support. Well, the thing is, with ultra members, that would not even work. Do you realize right now, every week we have about 11 ultra member videos? What if every ultra member wanted 10 minutes? That would be 2 hours of ultra members. And then Q&A, so we'd have like 40 minutes of standard members, and that's it. That would never work, you know? The entire show would definitely be ultra members. I tell you that right now. And again, I want people to have a chance to be watched, so I don't think that would work. If I extended the length of my show to 2 streams, maybe we'd have an ultra member show of 10-minute clips, and then a standard member show of 5-minute clips. Then it would work. But right now, I don't think that would work at all, the way that I'm doing it. And again, if I did have more support in the React stuff, maybe I would extend the amount of React stuff I do. But right now, we're pretty much at the limit of the sweet spot that it can support. So, I do not work with any other YouTube channels. I'll clarify something for all of you. I don't work with any YouTube channels at all. I have no collaborations. I have no partnerships. I don't work with anyone. If anyone out there is using my content, they are not have my permission to do it. However, people can do it within the realm of fair use. So if someone out there is using my stuff as a transformative work, meaning they're adding commentary, they're adding criticism, they're editing it to get a point across, that's allowed. If there's someone out there who is literally just ripping my content raw and re-uploading it, that is completely illegal and always has been and always will be on YouTube, and it's not allowed. So there's a big difference, but no, I don't work with anyone else out there. I don't have any collaborations with any other people, just so you know. Excuse me. If you're saying that someone just said, I think your podcast gets uploaded raw somewhere, let me know and I'll shut it down. I need to know. I don't know where it is. I don't have time to look for it. If you send me the information, you can email me. I'll look for it and I'll shut it down. I can already tell you this. This is funny. So we talked about this a day or two ago, that someone apparently was outright ripping my raw streams here and just reposting them to their channel. No commentary, no criticism, just stealing my content outright. Someone told me about it. That person just hid their whole channel. It's gone now. You can't even find it. They hid all their content. So that way, so Phil can't try to actually use the law to strike me down legally, which I should be doing because they stole my content. They hid their whole channel. Funny, huh? But yeah, if you see that on Spotify, if someone's ripping my content and putting it on Spotify, I didn't condone that. That needs to stop. Let me know. Okay. Oh my God, this is a great one. This looks like a legit email. I love when I get emails like this. Your account has been temporarily restricted, okay? And it has an attachment on it. Gee, I wonder what the attachment could possibly be. And when you look, who did this email come from? Accounts reminder access at KIP Marketing Digitalpractica.com. Oh, that sounds legit. I love getting emails like that. The complete, they're trying to completely spoof and fish. It's a phishing email. They want you to click on it, thinking it's legit, and then click on a link or click on a file, and then next thing you know, they're trying to keylog your computer, or you know what I mean? I get those all day, every day. They're terrible. And the thing is, people fall for that shit. Some of them look really legit. They look very close to the real thing. So I can imagine people falling for that. Okay. Adam, thank you so very much for a super chat this morning. Appreciate that. Good to see you. All right. Guys, this was a great podcast. Man, we had a lot to talk about. Took us right to the end of the show. Thank you very much for your early support here. Let's adjourn for now. And let's get set up here for more Lies of P. I am excited. I really enjoyed this game yesterday. So I'm looking forward to more. We're in the factory. We've cleared out a lot of the factory. I get the feeling we're kind of nearing the end of the factory. And curious to see what the third boss will be. The bosses have all been interesting up to this point. And I continue on. So thank you all. Great podcast today. Appreciate the support. And once again, I've outlasted another one. In truth, like I said, I don't even know Achievement Hunter. I don't really care. Sad to see a good content creation source go, but it is what it is. I persevere, and I'll still be here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow when we'll talk a little bit more about Lies of P, and of course we will talk about Mortal Kombat and probably some of my initial online play from later tonight, among other things. Thank you all. See you then. Peace out.